Hello, this is Nick from gardenandgreen.co.uk. In recent videos, I've wrote a script and then read the script out, but they take quite a long time to do. So I think for this one, I'm just going to have a few notes and just try and do it that way and see how it goes down. And this video is all about alternatives to artificial grass. Firstly, just a little bit about artificial grass. It is becoming increasingly popular in the UK and I'm sure in other countries as well. And it's basically plastic grass that's made to look like a lawn. And there's more and more companies selling it every week. There's probably thousands and thousands of square meters being added to gardens. The companies selling it are putting it forward as being a great way to have a low maintenance lawn that looks fantastic all year round without any blemishes or weeds or anything like that, and you don't have to mow it. So this appeals to a lot of people who are just busy and haven't got time to be pushing a lawnmower around the garden, because a lawn is quite a labour intensive part of a garden compared to even flower borders, because you can plant some plants and some plants you don't have to do much with them, but with a lawn you always have to be cutting it if you want it to be looking, really neat and tidy. So the problem is that these plastic lawns are disastrous for the environment in two ways. The first way is the fact that you've obviously looked out a window and you see a blackbird pecking at the ground for a worm. Well, they can't peck a plastic lawn, can they? They can't get a worm out of a plastic lawn. You might see a bee on some clover or a dandelion. Well, they can't do that on a plastic lawn. So for bees, butterflies, insects, birds, they're totally disastrous. And if you look at the amount of declines in garden birds and butterflies and bees in Britain, the last thing we should be doing is adding plastic lawns to people's gardens. So that's the first thing. The second thing, which in some ways, because that could apply to somebody who's got like a paved area instead of a lawn. There's no bees and butterflies on a paved area, but with a paved area, if it ever did get dug up, the paving would just get sent to landfill, but it's like stone. It's stones, isn't it? Whereas a fake plastic lawn, it's plastic. So if you had a lawn in the garden and you want to get rid of a lawn and you threw it out, the grass would just turn to compost. It would just decompose. With a plastic lawn, if after a few years, if you want to get rid of it, or some point in the future, it's going to get, even if it's years down the line, someone's going to move in and get it. It's going to be all worn and tatty, and they're going to replace it or whatever, and the whole thing is going to go to landfill. And once it's in landfill, this plastic fabric is going to be leaching into the ground for centuries. It's never going to decompose. So they're the two main things. And there's plenty of alternatives to a plastic lawn, and this is what this video is going to be about. So here they are. The first thing I noticed when I looked at some of these companies selling the artificial grass was how big some of these lawns that they're installing. I always thought that people who got artificial grass, maybe it's more of a new build type property, and maybe it's just a small patch in the back garden. But some of these gardens that they're putting a plastic lawn in, they're huge. Like 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom detached houses, and they've got a side garden, and they've got just this plastic lawn like throughout the whole garden. It's unbelievable. And so anyway, if you've got a big lawn, the obvious solution, if you think it's too much work to be mown all the time, is to reduce the size of it. Or even if you just got an average size garden, just half the size of the lawn, and install, just make the borders bigger, double the size of the borders, and put some plants in them. These artificial lawns, I was looking, and on average, they seem to be about £15 per square metre. So if you've got, it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of pounds just even for an average sized garden. So that's a lot of money you can spend on plants. As you can see from this picture, it's hydrangeas. You could put roses. You could all sorts of flowers and shrubs, flowering shrubs that really don't need that much work. It's certainly a lot less work than a great big lawn that you've got to mow in the summer. Take hours every few weekends just to keep it short. So I would say definitely one solution is if you're considering an artificial lawn because you think it's too much work and too much time to cut the lawn, is to reduce the size of the lawn and plant some fantastic plants. So that's the first option. For some people, that option mightn't be a good one because they might want in a large flat area for kids to play on or for a pet to run around. So they don't want a lot of shrubs taking up the space. That's why they want the flat sort of fake lawn, because they want to replace the grass lawn, but they still want an area where kids can play or a dog can run around. Well, one option is bark chips. You'll find them at all sort of adventure playgrounds and stuff, and they're a natural material. They come direct from probably the timber industry when when they're stripping down the timber. It's probably a byproduct of that. And if you ever did get rid of it, it just goes, rot. Unlike the plastic, it'll just rot down in the compost. But I think it looks quite good. And also, if you wanted to put some, you could easily dig up a few areas for plants. You could put some raised beds for fruit and veg. You could put a swing. There's all sorts of different things, and I think it's quite attractive looking. I think it's natural. It's quite a nice color. So that's definitely an option for somebody who wants they still want the space that a lawn offers. If you've ever seen a green roof before on a shed or on a building, it's usually sedum plants that are on the green roof, because they create like a mat, like a carpet of low-lying plants. They're perennial, easy to look after, and some have got flowers. There's all different varieties, and they can be all planted next to each other, and they grow just create like a square of greenery. They're a fantastic option, and if you want to replace the lawn area with something that's sort of vibrant and fresh and a bit of colour to it, great for bees and butterflies and birds. I suppose the one thing is it's not ideal if you use your lawn for lying around on in the summer. Then you're gonna have to have like a bit of a patio area or something to sit on, because you can't really sit on this. But if you just got a lawn that you usually just like maybe it's in the front garden or down the side of the house or something, then this is a great option instead of a fake lawn. Like a fake lawn, they're very easy to look after. Once you've planted the plants and it gets established, there's literally nothing you have to do. It's super low maintenance, and they're also drought tolerant. Wildflower meadows have declined by 97% in the UK since the 1930s. So if you can add a small wildflower meadow in your garden instead of a plastic lawn, you'll be doing wonders for nature. And they can look beautiful as well when they're all in flower. There's a bit of a knack to them. You've got to read about how to get one added to your garden. For example, you've got to remove the grass before you do it. And you don't have to do it all of your garden. You could just do like part of, like if you were getting sick of mowing a massive lawn, you could do a bit like the first option. You could do 2/3 of it. You could make a wildflower meadow, and then just have a little area which you mow. That's just sit on in the summer, and the rest could be wildflower meadow. They don't need many mows throughout the season. Just if maybe a few. Like if you read up on it, it'll tell you exactly how to maintain a wildflower meadow to get the best impact from them and stuff. But it can be a great option if you want something that's a bit informal and great for wildlife. You might have thought about putting a pond in the garden, and I think when most people think of a garden pond, they imagine it to be maybe 3 meters by 2 meters or something. But really, there's absolutely, as this photo, I think it's a Japanese house, it shows the potential of what you could do to your garden if you've got a sizable lawn. There's absolutely nothing to stop you adding a fantastic, amazing wildlife pond. Pond liner can go, I think the maximum size I've seen is 40 meters by 30 meters, all in one piece. So if you've got like a good sized lawn that's like 10 meters by 10 meters, you could literally transform it into like a really big pond in your back garden. And it doesn't have to be super deep, they can be like 30 centimeters deep. And once you've got it, once you've got the liner down, and you get it filled with water, and then you get some aquatic plants, then after that, what's to do with it? You don't have to mow it. You just have to maybe, take some of the stuff out once a year in the autumn or something, remove some leaves or something, and then maybe tidy a few plants around the edges. But apart from that, and they can be fantastic for nature and attracting birds. I've seen on Twitter, I've seen all types of things come to people's ponds when they've got a pond in their garden. Herons, swans, mallards, badgers, hedgehogs, owls. These are all videos I've seen of people recording things they've seen in their garden pond. And then, of course, there's frogs, newts, toads, all them sort of amphibians, dragonflies. It's just, it can be absolutely amazing. And look how amazing that looks, that photo. Just absolutely spectacular. So it's definitely an option. And if you're paying 15 meters per £15 or something per meter squared, and you have got like a large area you're going to put a fake lawn on, then why not? It probably won't cost any more than to put a pond in that size, and then you could put some seats by the edge and be amazing. I should add that I was focusing a lot there on a really, really large pond, because the photograph showed the potential of having a really large pond in your garden if you've got a large lawned area and if you've got a big property. But of course, that you could put a pond in a small garden, like even it's just like, even if you're replacing 2 meters by 1 meter of turfed lawn, and you were going to put plastic lawn, then there's no reason why you couldn't just change it to, instead of putting the plastic lawn in, create a nice pond in just a normal small garden. It looks, you can make really, really attractive back gardens where the focal point is a pond rather than a lawn. In fairness, I suppose the wildlife pond option is, you might have spotted that it will require pond liner, which is plastic, so it would actually cover a similar area if you were putting a pond in instead of a fake plastic lawn. I suppose you could argue that eventually it might end up in landfill like the plastic lawn would, but there's no comparison in terms of the benefits of it actually when it's on the ground. Because it's so great for nature and wildlife if it is creating a pond, whereas the plastic lawn is just like a dead zone. There's nothing there. It's like disastrous for sort of nature. And also a pond liner hopefully would last a lot longer, because if it was ever a split or something, you can just patch it up. Whereas I think a lot of these fake lawns, after so many years, they're just going to get shabby and people just want to get rid of them. So yeah, if you're creating a big pond in your garden, you'd be using plastic pond liner probably. So it's not so great in that respect, but as I say, for nature it's fantastic. Another option to the plastic lawn is to add some fruit trees to the lawn that you've already got. If it's a shabby lawn and you think, oh, it's can't look after this, it's just got patches and all the rest of it, then how about just giving up on trying to be neat and instead turn it into something that not only looks good but can provide you with loads of fruit. And the thing is, you don't need to grow huge trees because all types of varieties of fruit can be bought on different types of rootstock. So if you've got just a small garden, you can get the fruit, like the certain type of apple, on a rootstock that will only grow maybe 6 foot tall. And so then you can add, like, if you've got an average size back garden, you could add maybe 6 to 10 like 6 foot trees. You could have cherries, plums, apples, pears, and also in sunny sheltered gardens you could even grow apricots and figs. So not only did you get the fruit in the autumn, in the spring all that area where the shabby lawn was would just be little trees with all lovely blossom flowers on the tree, so it looks lovely in the spring. And then in terms of on the ground, you just like get a push mower and just mow it every now and again, but you wouldn't have to worry because your eyes would just be looking at all the nice trees on what was the lawn rather than at the shabby lawn. And again, compare that to a plastic lawn, there's no comparison. Adding a chamomile lawn is a great alternative for a small garden, where you might want to lie on it in the summer, but you're not going to be running around on it. It's a plant that's like a herb. You can use chamomile tea for relaxation, and it's got an apple scent when it rains. It's lovely, fresh and bouncy and cushiony. This one in the picture is a flowering variety. If you can use it for a lawn, but you'll have to like trim the flowers when they're finished. But the main type of variety for a chamomile lawn is a type called Trinaigue, and that doesn't flower. It's just got like the green foliage, and it just spreads, and it's easier to look after than a grass lawn. You don't have to mow it, but you will have to, like, maybe once in a while just go around and remove any weeds that's amongst the chamomile. But other than that, it's quite easy to look after, and it's great for, like, maybe it's a new build house or a little cottage where you just want a few meters of lawn, and it's going to be so much nicer than that plastic lawn that you might be tempted to be getting. So hopefully this might entice you to try something different. So there's some ideas instead of getting a plastic lawn. Hopefully there's something there that might be of interest to you that maybe you've never thought about before. And I mean, we've always managed perfectly well without having plastic lawns. It's not something that we need, and especially at this time where the environment's becoming so important, that the very least you could do is just keep your garden natural, and try and encourage a little bit of help for bees and butterflies and birds, rather than just make it a complete wildlife desert. It's no use sitting watching a David Attenborough documentary and saying, wow, we've got to help the environment, and then the next day going online and buying £500 worth of plastic lawn to put on your grass lawn, and then it'll end up, as I say, in landfill eventually. So hopefully you'll go for something that'll help nature and help the environment, and also can look fantastic, and I think personally so much better than any type of plastic lawn can ever look. I mean, some of them can look quite real, but generally they just look totally fake, which is what they are. They're fake. So let's keep it natural and avoid the plastic. See you later. Bye bye.